What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome back to my channel. Going to continue with our team preview and prediction videos. Today, we're going to be doing the Miami Hurricanes. This is a team that could compete in the ACC this year. But before we give them that, hey, leave a like. It helps with the YouTube algorithm, helps get the video out to as many people as possible. You can also hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell. Again, you don't have to, but it would really mean a lot to me if you would do that. Leave a comment down below. You can tell me your thoughts on this video or what you think Miami's going to do this season. Just keep it PG in the comment section down below. Share the video with with everyone you know who likes college football as much as you and I. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into talking about the Miami Hurricanes. This is a team this year that could compete in the ACC. This is a team that's returning a lot of talent. I love their returning production. The only thing they're really losing is Brevin Jordan at tight end, and we'll look at some other losses here in a little bit. But that's like the main piece that they're losing. Again, not a whole lot leaving Miami. They do have some good talent returning, coming in. There are a couple of health questions that I'm concerned about with Miami that I'll get to in a little bit, mainly at the quarterback position. I think you guys know where I'm going with that. But this is a team that's just been on the up and up. They've been on the rise. And they're going to hope to continue that in 2021, and they have the pieces to do so to get back to possibly being a championship contender, although, again, in the ACC, they'd have to get past Clemson, which they're avoiding in the regular season, so a good thing for them. But let's go ahead and take a look at who they are losing. A couple guys at the quarterback position. First of all, N'Kosi Perry, Tate Martell, both of those guys have transferred out. N'Kosi Perry was that backup to D'Eriq King, and Tate Martell was just a guy that never worked out. Didn't work out at Ohio State. Didn't work out at Miami. N'Kosi Perry, I believe, went to Florida Atlantic. And Tate Martell looks like he's going to go to UNLV. Robert Burns, a guy that they're losing at running back. Just kind of a backup player. Not a huge loss for Miami. A big loss for them, though, is tight end Brevin Jordan. Now, Miami has had really good tight ends over the past years. And Greg Olsen, I mean, there are so many that you can name at Miami that have been there. Brevin Jordan was another one of those, and they have some great guys still on the roster. Now, the defensive side is where they're losing quite a bit. Jalen Phillips, Greg Rousseau, and Quincy Roche are all gone off of that defensive line. So Miami's going to have to replace some pieces of that defensive line, although I think they're going to be able to do it. But Jalen Phillips and Greg Rousseau, those are the two guys that are going to be really, really hard to replace. Patrick Joyner has gone off that linebacking group, and Christian Williams has gone from the defensive backing group. So some huge losses, but particularly in that front seven for Miami. That's really going to hurt their defensive production this season. But it's not about the talent you lost. It's about what you have, as the old saying goes. And what we talked about before, D'Eriq King is still here. So for me, D'Eriq King, it depends on his health. Of course, we know he went down with an injury. So he should be on track. And he's probably going to end up playing in week 1, but there's a small chance that he doesn't, at least from what I've heard. Probably clear to play by now, I would imagine. So D'Eriq King going to be that quarterback, and he's a fantastic player. We all know how good D'Eriq King is. Cameron Harris is back at running back, a very solid running back. They got a couple other guys back there as well. Miami should be good there. They did get a transfer at wide receiver, Charleston Rambo, over from Oklahoma, to pair with guys like Mike Harley and Mike Pope. So Miami should be good at the wide receiver end, and that tight end that's starting is Will Mallory. He's still a really, really good tight end. In my opinion, not as good as Brevin Jordan, but should fit in nicely in that starting tight end role for Miami this year. And on the defensive line, again, they're going to need some guys to step up in those positions. But linebacking groups, they still got some talent. Gilbert Frierson and Bradley Jennings are there at the linebacker position, and a couple great defensive backs as well. Bubba Bolden and Tyreek Stevenson was a transfer over from Georgia, former 5-star recruit. He will fit in nicely in this Miami secondary. Should start this year, I would imagine, but also Bubba Bolden back there could be one of the better defensive backs in the nation this year. NFL draft pick this year for sure as well. Take a first look at the Miami Hurricanes schedule. They went 8-3 in 2020 with a 7-2 record in the ACC. By my metrics, they were third in the ACC as they didn't have divisions last year and lost in the Cheez-It Bowl to Oklahoma State. Hey, you guys know how this works. I'm going to talk about some games more than others. They're just more interesting matchups to me. If it gets highlighted in green, it's a win. If it gets highlighted in red, it's a loss. Without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about Miami this season. And they're starting off with the hardest game of the season. Right off the gate, they have to go play the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, if you guys have watched my Alabama video, which a lot of you have, that video has gotten huge in the view count, and I appreciate you guys for that. But if you guys have watched that video, you guys know where this is going. I do have Miami losing to Alabama. Now, I have said in my Alabama videos that there's a chance that Miami can beat Alabama. And yeah, absolutely there is. There's a chance of anybody beating anybody, no matter how slim it is. But for Miami, it's a pretty slim chance. The game could be done by halftime. I know a lot of Bama fans are hoping the game gets over by halftime. At least that's what the expectation is, that this game, they can blow Miami out of the water. And yes, they can, but Miami can make it close. I think a lot of people are forgetting how good Miami can be. They can make this game close and competitive. But in the end, I just see Alabama pulling away. They just got too much talent for this Miami team. Alabama should win by double digits in the end, but it could be close throughout. It's going to be a good game to watch, but Alabama should be able to get a nice win against the Hurricanes. So the Hurricanes already start out 0-1. Then they got to go back home to Hard Rock Stadium and play the Appalachian State Mountaineers. Usually a team that you got to watch out for, usually a team that can contend for the top 25. And now there are a couple other teams in the Sun Belt, aka Coastal Carolina and Louisiana, that are kind of emerging as those front runners in the Sun Belt. While App State is still not a bad team at all, there's just no way that they're going to be able to compete with Miami. I have the Hurricanes being able to beat App State by 20-plus points. I don't see the Hurricanes having too much of a problem with the Mountaineers. Again, this is the team that could hang around for a quarter or two, and maybe Miami's coming off a little bit of a low after that Bama game. App State maybe could keep it close for a quarter, but Miami should run away with this game. Miami should also run away with this Michigan State team. I'm not too fond of this Michigan State team. A lot of people say they're underrated this year. Mel Tucker's going to do well. Mel Tucker hasn't proven himself anywhere as a head coach. And until I can see he can prove himself and Michigan State can overall just improve, period, I don't see a way this game is close. I see Miami being able to easily beat the Michigan State Spartans, and they're going to easily be able to beat Central Connecticut as well. Yes, that is that. It's Central Connecticut Blue Devils. An FCS team. Miami should run them over. And then they get into ACC play. Now, we talk a lot about, or I've talked a lot about at least, how ranked teams have a hard time on weekdays. But that's weekdays on the road. This is a weekday game at home. Short week of practice, but it's coming off a really easy win against the Virginia team that I don't have too high of expectations this year. I think Miami's going to be able to beat Virginia here. I don't see this one being too close. I just really don't see this one being super close. I think Miami's going to be able to beat Virginia pretty handedly. And then they get their bye week, and this is a perfect place for a bye week because then you have to go on the road and play North Carolina. And this is the game that is going to decide the division. Week 7, this is the game that is going to decide the division. This is a huge matchup. Now, if you watched my North Carolina video last Friday, you guys already know what I'm predicting in this game. But for those of you that didn't, let me explain. I think this game could go either way. Miami is returning a lot more production than North Carolina, but North Carolina's got this game at home. And to me, North Carolina is just the better team right now. I think they have more questions answered, especially on the defensive end. Offensively, I think Miami definitely has more questions answered. But how will Miami's offense fare this year? I know it was pretty darn good last year, but if you remember this game last year, North Carolina blew Miami out by 40-plus points. It was not even close. This game is going to be a lot closer this year. While I could see Miami winning the game, I am giving the win to North Carolina. I think Sam Howell is going to be a better quarterback this year than De'Aaron King. I think Sam Howell's got the better playmaking abilities than De'Aaron King. And I think ultimately Sam Howell maybe could have the better weapons than De'Aaron King this year. But as of right now, De'Aaron King has the better weapons. I think North Carolina is going to prove to be a really, really good team this year. And I think they're going to get a nice win against the Miami Hurricanes, which brings Miami to 4-2 in the first half of their season. Lucky for them, the schedule can only get somewhat easier from here. I'll talk about why they might have some tricky games here in a little bit. But after they play North Carolina, they got to play North Carolina's in-state rival in the NC State Wolfpack. And NC State, a team that I think could fare pretty well this year. This is the team that's returning quite a bit of talent on offensive or on the offensive and defensive sides. But I don't see this one being close. I don't think Miami's going to want to lose another game from this point out, as difficult as that is. And I'll show you why in a little bit. But North Carolina State, I don't think is going to keep this one close. Now, we've seen North Carolina State almost pull off some crazy upsets in the past, almost beat Clemson a couple years ago. In fact, almost beat Clemson twice in the past couple years. I don't see this one being close. Give me the Hurricanes. Then they got to go on the road to play Pitt. This is going to be a hard game for Miami. Pitt's not a team that you're going to want to overlook and playing on the road. I think Pitt's going to fare really, really well this year. I really do. They got Kenny Pickett back at quarterback. They got lots of great guys on defense, especially in that secondary. Some of the most underrated group, or one of the most underrated groups of wide receivers in the nation. This could be a close game. And if you watch my North Carolina video, you'll know I have Pitt upsetting North Carolina. Now that comes on a weekday and it's a road game for North Carolina. This is a road game for Miami on a Saturday. I don't know that Pitt's going to have the mentality to pull, or I shouldn't say the mentality. I don't know that Pitt's going to have the talent to pull this one off. I just think Miami's offense this year is going to be really explosive. I think they're going to be able to exploit those cornerbacks. And Pitt's going to pull off some upsets this year. I have them pulling off an upset against North Carolina. I don't see them winning this game. Give me the Hurricanes to improve to 6-2 on the season. I also think they're going to beat Georgia Tech. Now, Georgia Tech, a team that you don't want to overlook. So this could be a tight game in the first quarter. But after that, I think Miami's going to pull away. Again, just too much talent. A road game against Florida State in the late season. And this is where I have trouble predicting this game. Florida State is a team to me that can prove to be a really solid team next year. They have Mackenzie Milton at quarterback. They have a lot of nice pieces offensively and defensively. It's just if they can string it all together, and it's all going to depend on whether or not Mackenzie Milton is healthy and ready to go. So, Florida State, yes, they could surprise a lot of people this year. Absolutely. However, as of right now, Florida State probably a 6-6 team in my opinion. But if they can string together a really nice team, this could be a very close game. This could be a really close game. I'm looking for this one to be pretty close, at least in the first half. Florida State could make this one interesting, but I do think Miami's going to squeak out a win here on the road against Florida State. I think Florida State can pull off an upset this year as well. This might very well be their upset right here against Miami, but I think Miami's going to be able to just squeak this one out. And even then, if Florida State's not a team that can surprise a lot of people, hey, Miami could blow them out by 20-plus points. I think either one of those two things could happen. It's either going to be a close game or Miami's going to blow them out. It just all depends on how Florida State plays this year. Then a home game against the Virginia Tech Hokies. Virginia Tech's a hard team to play when you have to go on the road, but this game is at home. Virginia Tech's going to be a solid team this year, but I don't think they're going to be anything super spectacular. Give me the Hurricanes to win that one. And Duke might very well be the worst team in the ACC, even below Syracuse. I don't think this one being on the road will matter that much for Miami. Give me the Hurricanes to win that game. And so with that, you see two games are highlighted in red, which means that I have the Miami Hurricanes going 10-2 in 2021. Could they beat North Carolina? Yes, absolutely. I don't think they're going to beat Bama. There's a very slim chance. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to beat Bama. Could they beat North Carolina? Yes, absolutely. But the game being on the road, it's just a trick. It's going to be a tricky game for them to win. And they maybe even could go 9-3. Again, they could drop a game to Pitt or Florida State on the road. Maybe that short weekday game at home gets them against Virginia. Who knows? But they do play those 4 home games in a row. I'm not worried about them losing any one of those. But they have some tricky road games. As I just mentioned, Pitt, Florida State, North Carolina. Their best case scenario for me is 11-1. I don't see them beating Alabama. Slim chances I've mentioned, yes. But it's a very slim chance. I don't think they're going to be able to beat Alabama. I think Alabama gets starts off the season 1-0, or I should say Miami starts off the season 0-1 there. Could they win their last 11 games? Yes, absolutely. I'm only predicting them to lose one of those. But I could also see them going 8-4. Again, they have tricky road games on the road to North Carolina, on the road to Pitt, on the road to Florida State. And to me, it really all depends on how good Florida State is this year. If Florida State is a pretty solid team, that is an upset potential game. If Florida State's not that great like they have been the past couple of years, that's a game that Miami's going to run away with, in my opinion. But I have the Hurricanes going 10-2. Let me know what you guys have the Hurricanes doing in 2020 down in the comment section down below. You can also leave some other teams down there that you would like me to look at. But remember to leave a like, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell as well. That all really helps me out a ton. Also, sharing the video gets the video out to as many people as possible. I do really appreciate the support on the channel as of late. And the next team that we're going to be looking at, aka the team we're going to be looking at tomorrow, the Florida Gators, another team with inside the great state of Florida. Can the Gators get back to the SEC title game? You're going to have to find out tomorrow. Remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. Again, we're going to talk about the Florida Gators tomorrow. I'll see all you guys then. Goodbye.